Were all the Gaza-bound ships on a mission of humanitarian relief? The answer is obviously no otherwise. They would have accepted Israel's offer to bring their supplies to an Israeli port, be inspected for military materiel, and have the rest trucked by Israel into Gaza. Why was the offer refused? Because, as the organizer Greta Berlin admitted publicly, the flotilla was not about humanitarian relief, but about breaking the blockade, that is, ending Israel's inspection regime, which would mean unlimited shipping into Gaza and thus the unlimited arming of Hamas. Who were among the activists? Al-Auda, the Socialist Workers' Party, the International Action Center, the League of Revolutionary Party, and an assortment of other anti-democratic and anti-Israel factions. As one of the female activists said on television, "We shall win either way. If we get killed, the media will portray us as martyrs and the Israelis as aggressors. If we succeed, then Hamas will win." Tragically, this is exactly what has happened. The terrorists on the Marmara have been portrayed by the Western media as the victims of Israeli aggression. Let me read you the following from the official Palestinian Authority daily, Al-Hayat al-Jadida. Headline: 3 of the 4 Turkish victims of the Israeli attack wished to die as shaheeds, martyrs. And it reveals 3 of the 4 Turks killed in the Israeli attack on the Freedom Flotilla, bound for the Gaza Strip, wanted to die as martyrs, said their relatives and friends. The wife of one of them, Ali Haidar Bengi, told the Vatan daily, "He used to help the poor and the oppressed. For years he wanted to go to Palestine, and he constantly prayed to Allah to grant him shahada, martyrdom." The facts and reality are all there to read and see, but the Western media chose to close their eyes to all of them. I would like now to put in perspective and in sequence what had actually transpired from the initiation of the flotilla till now. The idea of the so-called humanitarian mission was sanctioned, organized and led by the Islamic Turkish government of Erdogan. The Israeli government informed each country that was sending a ship that these ships will not be allowed to go into Gaza without inspection of their contents, that Israel will transport the alleged aid to Gaza after inspection. Erdogan's Islamist government was fairly elected by the Turkish people. Hitler's government was also fairly elected by the German people. Unfortunately for the Turks, any Islamist government that takes over the reign of any state terminates its democracy, just like what happened under Hitler and the Nazis, or under Khomeini in Iran or Hamas in Gaza. Turkey is reverting back to its Muslim roots that Kemal Atatürk wisely prohibited almost 90 years ago. Turkey is regressing into fundamentalist Mohammedan Islam. Hence the flotilla was a means to break the sea blockade of Hamas, so as to allow them unrestricted and unsupervised access to weapons to destroy Israel. They had already showered Israel with 10,000 rockets, which the Western media totally ignored over the last 5 years. Erdogan told Israel that she is losing a friend in Turkey. If I were the Israeli Prime Minister, I would have replied that with friends like you, I do not need enemies. The total aid carried by the 6 ships was 10,000 tons. Israel allows 15,000 tons of aid a week to go into Gaza, although Hamas and their Palestinians are in a state of war with Israel. Watching TV programs from Gaza on the Arabic channels, one will see markets that are brimming with food and merchandise, and not a single starving Palestinian in sight. In fact, one will see the best-dressed would-be suicide bombers with thousands of flags, thousands of brand new weapons, all purchased with money given to Hamas by the United Nations and the European Union. Let me now reveal to our audience the facts about the Arabs, Muslims, Jews, and Israel that the news media never address. Israel is made up of 5 million Jews and 1.5 million Palestinian Arabs, who would not for a second leave the alleged racism and discrimination under the Jews to go to any of their wonderful Arab states. Israelis are surrounded by about 330 million hate-mongering Arabs and Arabized peoples. Israel is 8,000 square miles, while the Arab states occupy an incredible 5 million square miles. The Muslims of Ummah Muhammad are 1,500 millions, while the Jews are a mere 14 millions worldwide, a ratio of over 100 to 1. The Muslims occupy a staggering landmass of almost 11 million square miles. Taken in proportion, if we use a football field to represent the lands of Islam, Israel will be the size of a box of matches. I usually use the Jews vis-à-vis the Muslims because if 1,500 million Mohammedans fail miserably with the smallest monotheistic entity, comparing them to the Christians would be even more laughable. 1,500 million Muslims represent 20% of humanity, but they contributed only 0.2% of Nobel Prize winners. The Jews, on the other hand, representing 0.2% of humanity, have contributed 20% of all Nobel Prize winners. With such astounding disproportions between the Jews and the Muslims, it is not a wonder that the Mohammedans want to exterminate them, for proving to the whole world that beyond a shadow of a doubt how utterly useless are the cult followers of Muhammad. They are, in a nutshell, the least productive, least inventive, and least creative ummah in human history. And no one, as far as I know, has asked the question, why is this the case? Well, the answer is, as usual, simple. It is Muhammad's Quran, Muhammad's Quran, Muhammad's Quran. Nothing else can explain the above facts and reality.